validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Just about got it on the head today, but, still trying to work on some kinks in the background. We were supposed to master reset the laptop, and we didn't get a chance to. Been down to the base of the hour. Thursday, supposed to be a day off. Did a bunch of work today. I don't seem to be getting good days off. I've got to start managing my workload here. Maybe hire some extra employees, take some work off my shoulders. You find when you got a lot of things to do, while you celebrate the opportunities to get a lot of stuff done, you also recognize that there are some situations in life where you might need a little bit of help, and you got to know how to reach out and try to get that help from some people. But you can tell who's in supportive of your situation and who's not, because when you're in a situation where they recognize that you need help and they don't help, after you've notified them that you need help, that's when you're able to decipher the difference between those who you can count on and those that you can't. It's not always the fact that the individuals are using you. It's just a lot of the times that some people just don't value you enough to put forth the effort to make a difference in your situation, recognizing the fact that you're putting a lot of effort into making a difference in their situation. So you got to analyze that and make the right decisions, which is the moral for today's show. You got to make decisions that work for you. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe as you come to today's show. Note that you can click one of the links in the comment section, approve the mic, approve the camera, to bring you on in real time. I see you guys coming in from Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. So you guys have the opportunity to communicate through the comment section. One of these days, I'm going to run this on the 16:9 platform because they give us the ability to have the comments pop up on the screen as you guys comment. In doing so, it doesn't matter which platform you're coming from. I'm supposed to be able to get your comments directly up on the screen, which would aid you guys in being able to contribute. But until I do the 16:9, I can keep it at a 9:16 format and manually input, and you'll still see the comments come up on the screen up here at the top, as you just seen before. We are live 7 nights a week. We have a different topic every night of the week. It's primarily themed around improving your finances and improving yourself, because two halves of the same whole gives you a better life. So we talk about money on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we talk about you Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Sunday, we have our members only show that's open to the public right now, where we talk about everything else under the sun. So with that being said, note, we're going to be talking about the dome on Monday, because he said just recently that he was going to make the dome a thing. You see that the show has already been booked for Monday. So if you go to the YouTube channel, if you're watching us from Twitch or Twitter, if you go to the YouTube channel, you can subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button on that show. And as soon as that show goes live, you'll know what's going on, because while we're supposed to start at about 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we typically don't start until closer to 10:30, because I got a lot of things going on, and I got to make sure that I got the information right before I go on air. So I would prefer to be a little late than to be on time and be wrong. So as I've always said, the show must go on, and we will not let the sun rise without going live. So every night of the week, you'll see us going live, sometimes later than others, but we will go live at some point during the night. So with that being said, let's go ahead and tee things off for today. Since we're making decisions that work for you, let's take a step back and dive into self-improvement, because we talked about this a long time ago. We've also talked about emotional intelligence, but we want to talk about living your best life. Since today we're talking about something we all face every single day, which is making decisions. Some choices can totally change your life for the better. Others, well, they can trip you up in big ways. So how do we make sure we're steering ourselves in the right direction and not letting others' bad decisions drag us down? Making informed, high-quality decisions is crucial for personal and professional success. Yet research shows that most individuals and organizations fall short of best practices, often with significant consequences. Only about 20% of organizations excel at decision making, according to a McKinsey global survey. I love McKinsey's. If you grew up back in the day with McKinsey's, you tasted it, and that's like a sound bite. That was a pastry shop. So that's a very catchy name right there. However, recognizing that only 20% of people are making good decisions, just 37% of respondents to that survey say their organization's decisions are both high quality and fast. This is concerning, given that effective decision making is strongly linked to better financial outcomes and higher growth rates, which ultimately indicates the reason why 95 to 99% of individuals in America are financially strapped. It's due to lack of informed decision making. In fact, organizations that make decisions quickly and well are twice as likely to report superior returns from their most recent decisions compared to their peers. Now, one of the funny things is that I made a quick decision when I dove into Orchid Island, and it went down 22% 12 hours after I got it. Not 22%, 22 cents. So it went from, I think, 712 to like 698 or something like that, or 688, something like that. Ultimately 22 cents a share less than what it was when I grabbed it. Now, it could have dropped because of the quantity that I grabbed, recognizing that I'm qualifying for the upcoming dividend distribution. And I could have just got in too soon, because this is around about the time that a lot of people are selling stocks, and it dips before it rises, but it starts rising starting on Monday of next week. And I wanted to be on the books before Monday of next week. But if I would have waited one more day, assuming that my transaction didn't cause the dip, if I would have waited one more day, it would have dipped, and then I could have got in and had an extra 22 cents a share. Now, it is what it is, but 22 cents a share on 156 shares is a lot, because 100 shares would have been excuse me, 100 shares would have been $22. 20 increase. So, probably would have had like 25 or 30 extra dollars on the take. So it is what it is. We did say that there's some rises and losses, specifically because you can't determine what the market is going to be like on a day-to-day basis. But if you can kind of estimate an average, as long as you're getting more than what you put into it, you're turning some kind of profit. Your goal is to try to turn a profit twice, one from the dividend distribution and the other from the sale of the stock, because that gives you kind of a twofer. But if you're getting it from the dividends and the loss that you get from the sale of the stock offsets one another, that's also an option. As long as you're at zero, you're halfway okay, is zero or better. But when you start going into the negative, where you lost more than you made, you got to rethink your position. If you can find and pinpoint the lowest point of the month to buy into, there you go. As long as you got enough days, because you got to remember, like the 26th is a trade holiday, and then you also got to take into consideration the weekends. So with a trade holiday coming up on the 26th, which is like 4 days from now, and today's Thursday, so 4 days from now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that means that Monday's a trade holiday. So if I did not get my trade on the books before Friday of this week, then I would have been in a position come Tuesday to get on the. So if I was trying to do a trade that was supposed to be recorded for the 26th, my trade would have to be done before the 23rd. So that's like, 3 extra days in addition to, and you got to remember that it sometimes takes 24 hours to make the sale. So I would have to put the purchase up today so that it would get purchased tomorrow, so that it would be on the books by the end of business day tomorrow, which means I would be trying to make the trade on the 22nd to get it approved by the 23rd, so that it's on the books by the 26th, which is why I did it a few days ago. Now, despite the availability of vast amounts of data and coming to this and that, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between, we bring you massive quantities of data. Most companies use only about 50% of the information they have for decision making, with large companies using even less, around 40%. This underutilization of data means that nearly half of all business decisions are still based on quote unquote gut feelings rather than facts, largely due to missing or inaccessible information. Yet, highly data-driven organizations are 3 times more likely to report significant improvements in decision-making compared to those that are relying less on data. And all of these facts and statistics actually leads up to what we're going to be talking about, so that you guys can kind of understand where we're going with this. Because if you don't know all of the ins and outs of what you're about to do, how are you going to know if you're going to do it well? If you have kind of an idea as to what should happen, and then you start taking action, you have the opportunity to understand what shouldn't happen. And that's not an issue that you want to go through. So part of the decision-making process is planning. You're doing collateral damage risk assessment. You're determining, if I do this action, what are the potential outcomes, and will those outcomes be positive or negative based on what I would prefer as my outcome? Because let's get her done. You can jump off a cliff with a bungee cord, jump off a cliff without a bungee cord, and jump off a cliff with an old damaged bungee cord. 2/3 of the time, you are not going to succeed. If the goal is to get a thrill all 3 ways, you'll get the thrill. But if the goal is to survive, there's only one option. Now, 2 options technically, because option number 2 is to don't jump. But for those who are going to jump, now, the importance of data-driven strategies is further underscored by the fact that 63% of marketing professionals worldwide in 2024 rated their data-driven strategies as at least somewhat successful, with 32% considering them very successful. Moreover, a study found that 80% of businesses leveraging real-time data experience revenue growth, and highlighted a tangible benefit of informed decision making. So they had experienced real-time data that gave them real-time revenue growth. That's not something that you see every day. So when I was giving you guys real-time information about the stocks, which ones were the best ones to grab, when I went over all the stocks yesterday, or actually we went over all the stocks on Tuesday, not yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday. We went over all the stocks to do the sector rotation. Last week, Tuesday, we went over all the stocks to do the dividend rotation. And these are the highest performing stocks. So while we found the 3 best monthly dividend distributing stocks, I think I found as of now between 6 and 8 quarterly dividend distributors. And we found quarterlies that would distribute on different months. So since not all of them do it on the same month, some on month 1 of the quarter, some on month 2 of the quarter, some on month 3 of the quarter, but ultimately there's at least 2 stocks on each month. And with reoccurring trades, you're able to navigate through the monthlies and still navigate into 2 of the quarterlies every month, and be able to fulfill your dividend rotation or dividend capture strategy, where you would be able to secure those dividends. Now, if you're sliding into a stock that's down, that's further down than what it was when you bought into it, you will be taking those losses if you decide to sell. But if you don't need the capital to continue your rotation, the down stock, you could leave the money there until the stock goes back up, and then sell it, and then put the money back into rotation. So while you might have a delay in receiving capital from that particular stock, it depends upon how soon you need the capital. If it's down today, but it's up next week, and you don't need the money until the 12th for International Seaway, if the stock is, if you were supposed to sell this week, but the stock doesn't go back up until the 28th or 29th, International Seaway doesn't need to be bought until the 1st. Or before the 12th. So you still have 2 or 3 weeks to buy into it. Yes, you still have 2 or 3 weeks to sell the current stock and still buy into the other one. So knowing what you're supposed to do, and then knowing what you got to do to get it done, and then being able to analyze what you should do in case of catastrophic failure, because it's not an emergency, it's just catastrophic failure. Then you're able to walk in there with a perceived plan And then once you walk in with a perceived plan, you're able to execute the majority of that plan and then adapt to the scenario and modify the plan accordingly. However, ineffective decision making is still going to be very costly, because on average, managers spend 37% of their time keeping themselves occupied with making decisions. And more than half of this time is thought to be used ineffectively. For a typical Fortune 500 company, this inefficiency can lead to over 530,000 days of lost working time and approximately $250 million in wasted labor costs annually. I could tell you, I would love to have that wasted on me, but that is a lot of money on business, waiting on people to make decisions. To improve outcome, research suggests adapting best practices such as making decisions at the right organizational level, focusing on enterprise level value, and making insurance to commit from stakeholders. If you can get that commitment from the stakeholders, you're doing good. Businesses using structured decision-making checklists have been shown to make a 75% better decision twice as fast, with 20% better performance and half as many meetings. So, leveraging data, applying structure, best practices, and fostering a culture of accountability and speed are key to making decisions that positively impact outcomes and help avoid the pitfalls of poor or uninformed choices. Now, before we jump in, I want you guys to grab a pen or paper, or open your notes app, especially if you got a Samsung, iPhone. Let's pray. But I know you guys got a notes app too, because I'm going to share with you some game-changing tips. And hey, if you're listening live, drop your questions or your own decision-making struggles in the chat, because I want to hear from you guys while we work out what we're going to be doing to make things just a tad bit better in comparison to the way things used to be. So, step one, we're going to get clear on your why. First up, ask yourself, what do I really want? What are your goals? What values do you hold close? Because here's the truth. If you didn't know where you're headed, any decision can feel like a shot in the dark. What's one goal or value that guides your decisions in? And I'll read a few of them out. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to give you guys a question. And I want you guys to throw down your answer. I don't care which platform you're coming from. If you see the question in the comment section, what's one goal or value that guides your decision? Because I'm going to read a few of these out loud. I want to know which ones y'all put down on here today. In the meantime, do not rush. I know that I've always found myself pressured to get things done because I always take on the responsibility of doing so many things. And I find myself in a compromising position where getting things done too soon could cause me to fail. Similarly to when I bought that stock instead of holding off on it the day after. Literally, because I grabbed it yesterday and today it dropped. If I would have said, oh, I'm going to make the trade on my day off, and then waited until Thursday, it would have dropped 22 cents a share, and then I could have grabbed it. And then when it went back up 22 cents a share, I would have had like 25, 30 extra bucks on the trade plus the dividend share. So probably start doing my trades on Thursdays. That way I'm in there. Now, you want to gather your intel. That's one of the key points. So it's not just impulse buy, impulse buy, impulse buy. You want to know what you're buying before you buy it. You want to know what it does. You want to know what its failures are. You want to know how you can benefit and how can it be detrimental to you. So the next step is you got to slow down and gather all the information you can. Don't just jump in because it feels right or because someone else is pushing you to do it. Think of yourself as a detective. What facts do you need before you decide? Now, got another quick question for you guys. Think about a recent decision you made, one that you made too quickly. What info did you miss? I want you guys to share that kind of information in the comment section. I'm giving y'all these questions in real time because if y'all rewatch the show later on, these questions are going to come up in the comment section in real time. If you're watching it on YouTube, these comments, these questions are going to be there for you guys to take a look at. So what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to take the time and think about this right here. Think about a recent decision that you made too quickly. And what info did you miss? And also think about the other question that we have. What's one goal or value that guides your decisions? Because we definitely want to know what you guys got going on. Now, step 3, you want to play the pros and cons game. And I know a lot of people don't really put forth evidence doing this, but you see a lot of the podcasters using pros and cons games in order to produce content because it's not really making a decision, but it's just producing content. But it's a classic move that is very powerful. If you list out all of the pros, all of the reasons why you want this thing, everybody can find something good about a product, and then list all of the cons. What good can come from this? What might go wrong? And don't just think about tomorrow, think about next year or even 5 years down the road. For example, you got individuals, they might want to buy one of those like WWE titles. I've always wanted one of those. Be fantastic to have one of those. But then I ask myself if I'm going to buy it for myself exactly how often am I going to use it? Where would I use it? What will I benefit from using it? Will it even be used after the first week or two? Because again, what we said, what's the year-long production of this situation? Is it just going to be like a decoration on the wall at the house, in the back of the car? Like, what's going on here? And when I determined that current circumstances indicate that outside of potentially taking it with me and being on TV for like a Raw SmackDown show, it would hold no relevant value to my current day-to-day operation, which ultimately makes it a meaningless purchase for me at this moment outside of sentimental value. Which then, when you start determining the difference between needs versus wants, sentimental value is wants. Needs are things that you can't survive without of. Needs are things that you end up physically suffering because you don't have these things, like no food, no water, no clean clothes. That's when you start deciphering the difference between needs and wants. Now, you get what you want when you can afford it, but you get what you need when you can't afford to get everything that you want. You want to make sure, step 4, that you check your feelings and bias before you do anything else. We are human, so emotions will always be in the mix. But here's the trick. Feel your emotions, then step back and ask, is this fear or excitement clouding my judgment? Poll time. Have you ever made a decision you later realized was just an emotional reaction? Yes or no? I want you guys to vote now on this. Let me know. Have you ever made a decision that you later realized just was an emotional reaction? I'm giving you guys these in the comment in real time. And look at the latency on Twitter. It's like as soon as I'm talking about it from like 5 minutes ago, it's coming up on the screen. So you're getting it while I'm saying it. This is going to be a very good question to ask yourself, because this also is the foundation of regret. Because when you realize that you made an emotional reaction or an emotional decision, and usually when that emotional reaction or decision negatively impacts somebody else, you now regret the behavior that you once performed, because now that you are informed, you would have hoped to have performed differently. If you knew all of the issues around the story, then you would be able to make a more informed decision. But a lot of us make impulse decisions. So it is in your best interest, when you kind of have an idea as to what's going on, but you don't know all of the facts, it is a better way to go instead to postpone addressing the situation right now in the heat of frustration. Take time to decant, take time to decompress, remove yourself emotionally from the situation. During that time of removal, do your discovery. Ample investigation puts you in a position where you can now do a informed decision, which you will be supportive of down the line. If you have time to address the issues, you have time to recognize what will and will not work out of your resolution process, which eliminates catastrophic failure and backlash. Step 5, you want to protect yourself from others' bad decisions. And this one is huge. Sometimes other people's choices can impact us big time. So how do you protect your peace? You want to speak up when you see red flags. If this doesn't look right, say something. You want to set boundaries. Stand on non-negotiable expectations for behavior. You want to make sure that if this doesn't look like it's going the way you would expect it to go, to be safe, and if you're doing this for entertainment, entertaining to you, where this will negatively impact your safety, your finances in an unsatisfactory way, or your personal satisfaction. Circumvent that situation. You can't have a cute girl sit in your lap and then talk about drinks on you for the entire nightclub just because this chick is sitting in your lap. You've got to be able to stand on standards. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe as y'all come through. Step 6, you want to learn and level up. Every decision is a chance to learn. So after you make a choice, take a moment to reflect what worked, what didn't. Use that wisdom to make your next decision even better. Now, if you're using step 6, you can utilize step 6 in a relationship. Because if after choices were made, it doesn't matter who made the choices. If I made the choices, if you've made the choices, if somebody made a choice in the relationship and that choice negatively impacted the relationship, you want to analyze, did that decision work? No. Why didn't that decision work? So it's not you messed up or you made a mistake or you made a bad call. Did the decision work? No. Why didn't the decision work? Well, because then what can we do, both of us in the relationship, to make that decision successful next time, if possible? And then we brainstorm how to fix this mistake, which ultimately detaches fault and blame from resolution. And by detaching fault and blame from resolution, we're now able to, instead of you attacking me and blaming me for things that I did and me attacking you and blaming you for things that you did, we recognize this situation that we both share didn't go the direction that either one of us would have wanted it to go. Both of us are unsatisfied with the results, and now we need to work towards finding a different way to resolve this situation. If it happened once in your life, it's likely to happen a second time if you do not have preventative measures. We cannot prepare for every potential hazard in the world, but what we can do is collateral damage on the ones that we are aware of, even if they never occur. Now, step 7. I think we only got about 10 steps, so you're almost done. We're on step 7. You want to own it and move forward. Once you've made your decision, own it. No regrets, just lessons. Confidence in your choices builds momentum and resilience. You want to make sure that you are confident in what you're about to do before you do it. Even if you get it done quick, you want to stop, stare, analyze, readdress it, and then when you're satisfied with the end result, turn it in for an outcome. All right, friends, here's a quick checklist. And I want to see if you guys follow this checklist. Let me know. We're going to determine how many of you guys are able to make the type of change and improvement that everyone needs in their relationship. Question 1, does this align with my goals and values? Question 2, have I gathered enough info? Question 3, what are the pros and cons? And I'm going to put these up here on the screen so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. Question 4, what are the pros and cons? And question 5, am I thinking clearly or just reacting emotionally? Question 6, am I protecting myself from other people's poor choices, right? And then question 7, what can I learn from past decisions? If you're asking yourself these questions, you're likely to end up with future, more positive decisions in comparison to the decisions that you once made in the past. It is a learning curve. Life is a learning curve. But what we have to do to adapt to that is grow with our learning. And that's one of the reasons why we want to find us a partner in the position of where we want to be, not the type of partner that is where we used to be, because thinking that you can get somebody that has plateaued beneath you, social status wise, financial status wise, economic status wise, and then you're trying to aim to be that multimillionaire, that person that's good with a Section 8 house on Social Security might not want to put in all that effort to be a millionaire because they don't got to work either way. So you have to change the way you do things so that you can change the way things turn out. Now, I want you guys to remember, decision making is a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you get. So start today by making one small intentional choice that moves you closer to your goal, baby steps. Then you start working on some of the other more defined choices. And as you progress with positive decision making, you start finding yourself in a more beneficial situation. What do you guys think? Are you ready to start making the next move towards positive decision making? Or are you good where you are right now? It's up to you. I'd love to hear. As it stands, though, make sure that you put all your comments in the comment section down below. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, we are about 75% followers for male-driven, male point of view podcast. So you will get it from the male's perspective. But ladies, we talk about self-improvement and we talk about financial improvement. These improvements do not restrict to any one individual gender. The only difference is that you know what your partner is looking for based on listening to what we're complaining about. Because if men have a complaint, your man has the same complaint. Odds are, to some capacity. So remember that we're live 7 nights a week. Tomorrow we got something else special ready for you. We're going to be getting that lined up. Hopefully throughout this week, you should see the other videos, because I did get the highlight reels for Mr. Satellite and Bayside. So special shout out to those guys. Usman, really appreciate you. Danny Steffen, Red Void, Reese Martinez, Max Opposer, Joe. We really appreciate all you guys for what y'all do. That would definitely benefit us over the long front. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. I definitely love this episode. And, you know, we're going to be seeing it shared with a friend who needs a decision-making boost. So if you've got a friend that's making all bad choices, they need to go ahead and tiptoe over to the show, come and see what's going on. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss what's coming next, because we've got a bunch of episodes that we're about to start airing over the next few days. And we're definitely going to be covering that Donald Trump in the Dome thing, because, I mean, we're going to be inside of it. With that being said, I definitely appreciate you guys for coming to the show. Thank you guys for coming to this and that. My name is Sander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm definitely going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground.